Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mark Atwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. Nearly. This is William O'Leary, part 2. Hello, William.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you. Just before we start chatting, anybody watching this, if you've not seen part 1, go and find it on the channel. You need to watch part 1 first. And this is William's back by popular demand. I've made him wait 40 minutes and we've rearranged it 3 times because everything's just a bit nuts at the moment. So I appreciate you hanging on, William. Yeah. And finally, anybody watching this, you want to keep up with this channel, please find the links in the description, Linktree / Mark Atwood Show. That's where all the links are. Most important thing is you get on the email list because that is the only way I can stay in touch with you if anything goes down. So all that stuff over with. Although I did forget to say, the guy in the car park with the registration number 256-759-62759-NP21. Could you go and remove your car because the number plate is blocking everybody else? I can't believe I just did that joke. Jesus, how are you, William?
Bloody good, bloody good. And you left out at enormous expense part. You left that part out.
Sorry, I didn't confer with you about the jokes beforehand, so
all right.
I'm kind of winging it.
Hey, listen.
As usual.
Yeah, I listened. The response to the video, I was gobsmacked, absolutely blown away, because I had no intentions of looking at it until you said, "Go and read the comments." I was like, "All right." Jeez, man. I was absolutely gobsmacked. I mean, the love that was coming out of there was unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah, crying out loud. And I want to thank everybody for all your comments. And I did note all of the comments, by the way, especially the ones requesting the healings and that. And I hope to touch on that subject maybe as we go along, because it is a very, very important subject. And I want to discuss it, especially from the healer's point of view, and what a healer actually is and supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I will touch on that as we go along. Now, how all this started for me, right, is this.
Neil.
Yeah, Conversations with God, book 1. I bought this, well, it kind of jumped out at me 2005 or somewhere around that. And as I was waiting for catch a plane home in an airport. And wow, for anybody starting out, just becoming awake, read that book.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful book. And I then went and ordered book 2 and 3, right? And I started reading book 2, right? Now, book 2 is completely different to book 1. And halfway through it, well, not even halfway through, I said, bloody hell, I can't believe this crap. And I just closed it. And along with book 3, which was still in its wrapper, I threw them into the bin.
Why?
I just, what bloody hell? I said, what's all this about? Book 1 was beautiful, man, beautiful. Book 2 is a complete different animal.
Well, it's the same with bands. The second album is always a bit shit.
Well, yeah. But it was it 2 days or a day and a half or 2 days, it was inside in the bin. And I'm there going, maybe I was a bit hasty, I said, maybe I should go out and rescue him. So I went out, and you don't realize how much rubbish you dump after you start searching through it.
That's true.
So I pulled it out, and I pulled the two books back out. Now, and I didn't read book 2. The reason I'm talking about this book, that's book 3, about this book, is that, if you like, the first conversation that we had, first interview, was more or less book 1. The airy, fluffy stuff, the light stuff.
Yeah.
Book 2 is where is where the rubber meets the road.
I was about to say exactly those words.
Beat you to it that time.
He did. Literally about to say it. Well, I know that people are going to get cross with me if I interrupt you, so I'm just taking it easy.
Really? So I want to say to people, right, and I am speaking directly to people. If what I'm going to say now doesn't resonate with you, that's okay, not a problem. It's just not for you.
Yeah.
that's quite all right. If it does resonate and you do take it on board, that's okay too. But for now, don't get upset or saying, oh, that's a load of rubbish. This is all evil talk or stuff like that. We'll deal with that later. It's not for you. It may not be for you just now. So I apologize in advance if it's caused you upset, but it's not meant to cause you, but it's a few home truths.
Okay. Right, let's have it.
Where to begin? Yeah.
I'm going to get comfortable here.
All right then. Yeah. I want first of all thank Tom Numbers again, because as I said the last show, I think that you done the interview with him, and I was watching it, and I'm just curious. I'll have a look and see what my numbers are. So I put my name in, and all this big long list came up. Everything came up. Can I say that with the letter O with the tail on it?
Yeah. I think it's still a letter of the alphabet. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That came up on its own. Okay. And all of the sayings that are associated with that particular letter were all there. Every single one of them were there on my numbers. And there was also Donald Trump was there. 107 was there. And Pelosi was there. President Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump, DJ Trump. They were all there on my name. And also was Angel of Revelations, which is I'm doing a bit of revealing. And also was Apocalypse. All right. And so I was going on down, and the next I got, whoa, Biden's name came up. It wasn't the fact that his particular name is what was written after it. Okay. And I went, ooh, wasn't expecting that one. And do you know what the second word was?
Is dead?
No.
Is that a word?
It says Biden, Antichrist.
Well, I'd have said Obama was more that than Biden.
So that's what came up, and I said, whoa, that's a bit strong. But that's it. Yeah, 107 was, you were speaking with Sean Stone. Is it Sean Stone, that his name?
I've never spoken to Sean Stone.
Yeah, I looked at his video, and halfway through, well, towards the end of the video, 107 suddenly said, what we need here is divine intervention. And I started smiling. And on the second interview he gave, he also mentioned the same thing, because he said things are not looking too good right now, but we do need divine intervention. I said, okay. And he repeated again quite recently. That's the third time. Yeah, I said, okay. So, yeah, everything, well, yeah, and also my previous, well, not my previous, but one of my previous incarnations also came up with, and I'm referring to this book.
Touche.
Okay.
Touche, my friend. Touche. I see you're one, and I have the whole series.
Let me get the rest.
That's right. You just arrived today.
Yeah. Hey, listen, this book, right? It's not an easy book to read.
So I've heard.
It's not an easy book to read by any stretch of the imagination. This book, which I bought after the Neil Donald Walsh books, was this one.
Yes, I've read that.
Have you?
Yeah.
That is a heavy read.
That is a good book.
It's an excellent book. I couldn't put it down. I really couldn't put it down.
And there's a really good abridged version of that by a guy who I've met, but I can't remember his name.
Reynard?
No, it's an English guy. it's got shift in the title, but I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, the Course in Miracles is very dense.
Extremely dense.
Brilliant. Yeah, it took me a while to read it, but if you go onto Hay House and look for shortened version of A Course in Miracles, somebody who explains it, it's actually very, very good. But I can't remember his name, I'm afraid.
But it is a very, very dense book.
Yes.
But you have to be drawn to that book.
Yes.
Definitely. And I had to read it 2 or 3 times before it finally clicked. And I was going through it, right? And I arrived at this paragraph eventually. And I said, hang on a minute, this paragraph. And I said, everything was in this paragraph. All this, the whole book has now come back to this one paragraph. And I'm looking at it and I said, hang on a minute. So I call and say, Yeshua, come here. This paragraph, I says, this is what the whole book is. I says, yes, but you had to understand the whole book before you understood what that paragraph was about. He said, you had to read the whole book and understand it. And I said, oh yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of Yeshua, by the way, you know that picture I sent you there with the clock?
Mm.
The 1, 2, 2, 2 on it?
Mm-hmm.
I took that picture after I sent you that and JC that text where saying we've won.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ecstatic because that was just given. I just realized what I was after being told. We won. I couldn't believe it. This was 12 o'clock at night and they were dancing around the place. And I took a photograph with the clock. I'd never done it before. And there's 1, 2, 2, 2. And I was saying, yes, I will have a party. And they would say, yeah, we'll have a party. And yes, you were chips in, right? Said, we'll have a party. We'll have a hoolie. I said, what? You will have a hoolie? One thing that people don't seem to realize about him is that he has a terrific sense of humor.
Of course he does. I've been saying this in loads of
He's got a terrific sense of humor.
God didn't have a sense of humor, I wouldn't be talking about boobs on videos.
Oh, and by the way, do you know this name Jesus? And I prefer to call him the name. Do you know when that first actually appeared?
Let me guess. 1862.
No, 1632.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. And it appeared in an English legal document.
Mm-hmm.
So the name Jesus is derived from 4 different interpretations, and going through the Hebrew to the Greek to the Latin to the English and that. So there's no J in the Hebrew language. So the closest is Yeshua.
Mm.
The closest is Yeshua. And I'm a lot more comfortable saying Yeshua. Now, think on for a minute. Who's controlling religion here? It is controlled, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it is controlled. So if Yeshua or Jesus was such a powerful name, do you think they would have allowed it?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the time that you're talking about was the time of St. James's Bible, which
yes.
been the perfect time to rewrite and change the names and stuff like that. I mean, I get a lot of people say in comments, if you want to get rid of entities, just use the name of Jesus. And I'm like, well, that's just a made-up name. It doesn't actually matter. The name doesn't matter. It's the intention and the faith and the connection to God that gets rid of them, not the actual words.
Yeah. Maybe it's the intent. Maybe that it goes to the right place, but the name itself that doesn't mean a lot.
Yeah,
just a word. So, and then when I hear people calling on that name, I said, "Who are you calling on? Like, what are you doing?"
Imagine that you're Yeshua up there, and all these people are praying, Jesus, Jesus, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you meant him."
Yeah, it's very close actually to a swear word.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love swear words.
Not that particular swear word. So just go back to the crucifixion for a minute, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So they put. What did they do? What was the actual crucifixion? What were they doing? They were doing this. They're saying, "Hey, look what we done to him. Fuck you. Fuck you. Look what we done. Fuck you."
Yeah.
So if
Yes.
if the cross was such a powerful symbol, right, and they control it, would they give you a stick so they can beat them with?
No, of course not.
And yet they're going around with the cross. With the cross.
Well, I think just the cross was that as well, because it's like,
yes, that's what it was.
you know, why would you want to see that?
Exactly.
Why have churches got Christ, you know, a man being murdered outside?
Yeah, imagine if you're not a Christian and you walk into a church and the first thing is this ghastly image hanging from a cross.
No, that's why I've always hated churches. It's awful.
Yeah. I have a lovely picture there. I use it on my Facebook sometimes, and it's with Yeshua, and he's sitting with the laptop on his lap, right?
Is this the
in
second
the woods.
coming? Is this the second coming? Because they didn't have laptops 2,000 years ago.
Oh, but whoever done that had the laptop on. So, and it's a beautiful.
Or was it Moses with a tablet? That's
it didn't do much good.
Right. I'm going to get told off for joking because it's a serious subject now, so I'll shut up.
No, it's laughter is the thing.
It is.
So where was I? Thanks, Mark.
So there's Jesus on a laptop in a wood.
Oh, yeah. And I said, that's great. That's a lovely picture. So I called him. Come here. I said, what do you think of this picture? And he says, isn't that a better depiction than an emaciated figure hanging from a cross? These are his words.
You
know?
It is, yeah. Just Yeshua checking his emails. I like that.
Anything from Mark Atwood?
Ask him why he hasn't responded yet. I know he's big, but you know, I've been emailing him for a few years now.
Be serious now. Be serious and be good.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so a lot of people would probably be upset at that. So what are they doing with this COVID, by the way? With this COVID thing? What is this COVID thing? They thought they got away with it 2,000 years ago. And they were just attacked the one person, right? But now what they're doing is, with this COVID thing is satanic.
Really? Do you think so?
Yeah. So what are they doing? They're not attacking one. They're attacking all of the creators.
They're attacking the children of God.
Yes.
Attacking the Christ consciousness.
Yes.
Attacking the one consciousness, right?
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
Yes. That is what they are attacking. Sorry?
Because they hate it.
Absolutely. And then their crown glory is slapping a muzzle on the face of the Creator.
Yeah.
And now then, they're doing that again.
Yeah, they are. One walks in front of me today and looks all completely normal, but with the muzzle, and I was just like, you wouldn't treat a dog like that. And there they are putting it on their own faces. So do you know what I call them? Do you know what I call the human race? Self-slaughtering sheep.
Self-slaughtering sheep. Speaking of dogs, right? You know, that was okay. Mark, knock it off.
That wasn't a joke. That was
all right. You know, getting back to this house of God and all that. And I was with my friend one day, and he was, every time we passed the church, he would bless himself. And I said, why are you blessing yourself? But he says, that's the house of God. I said, really? You think it?
That's the house of God.
Right. So if you believe that, I says, then you should bless yourself at every single house you walk by. Every single house you walk by, you should bless, because in there, that's where he really is. In there. Not in there, not inside the church, in the small little golden box. Stuffed, it must be very small to stuff inside there, inside that golden box, and then they put a key and they lock him in. I said, that's where he is, you know, that's where he is now. And if you want to talk to him, you must speak through me.
Yeah.
Speak through me. I've got the collar. Yeah.
It's classic mafia.
What do you put around dogs?
Collars.
Yeah, must go backwards. Dog. Yeah. So they wear the dog collar. Good, and they're very good. And you have to hand it to them, you know. You don't need go-betweens.
No.
You do not need go-betweens.
True.
Would you, when you were speaking to your parents, when you were young and you wanted to speak to your parents, right, your mom, even your dad, would you crawl down on your hands and knees and beg and plead and, do everything, grovel, everything to ask him a question or to approach him? I don't think so.
No.
And you think that your father, your heavenly father, wants you to do that?
No.
This heavenly father loves you so much. And I felt that love, by the way, a small dose of it. And I was standing in the middle of my dining room, and I just got a wallop of it. And I just stood there, and the tears were just running down my face. I just stood there like this, just feeling of euphoria, whatever it was, and the tears. If anybody walked in and saw me standing like a fool in the middle of the floor with the tears running down my face, said, what's wrong with you, That's the effect it had. That's the love. And he thinks now that he wants you groveling on your hands and knees. I don't think so. He wants you to stand up. He wants you to stand up. Never get on your knees. Do not get on your knees for nothing, for nobody. Never, ever get on your knees. Never.
That's like the king at Gondor at the end of Lord of the Rings, and the hobbits all bow down because he's got the crown on, and he says, you bow before no man.
Oh, right. I remember that, yeah. I remember that. It's beautiful. And you don't. You do not. But yet they've got you groveling on your knees.
Yeah, because they have created a system that completely corrupts people, so that people are full of guilt and shame and all sorts of horrible feelings that then makes them require. It's back to this addiction analogy that I've used many times, which is like addiction to cigarettes, for example. The one that you smoke creates the demand for the next one. Demand for the next one. It's the same with all poison. You become addicted to it because it creates a reaction in your body, and then once that reaction subsides, it then craves it again. And it's the same. I think that's exactly what they've done. That's why we've got this Stockholm syndrome situation with the human race and our masters, and the church has been doing that perfectly for thousands of years.
It's amazing stuff. It surely is.
But it's not the church, right? Let's just clarify this. Anybody watching this who goes to church on a Sunday, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And you do good things and you meet good people. That's fine. There's a church and then there's a deep church. So it's the people behind the churches, right? The churches are the fronts. So it's like you've got the Pope and then you've got the Black Pope. Both evil, but the Black Pope you probably didn't even know existed, right? Because he's deep church.
He's a Jesuit,
same as deep state, same as... So yes, so I can agree with all of that.
So anyway, where was I? My name. When I went back in to take a picture, screenshot of all the names that I was listed under, my name was under, they were all disappeared. Were all gone.
Really?
Yeah, all gone. Couldn't find them. I searched and searched and searched. All disappeared. I think the only name that was down there was one of the few that was left was William and Mary. And my wife's name is Mary, so it's William and Mary. So, all gone. Couldn't find them. I searched and searched and searched. Maybe somebody else can find it. I don't know. But mysteriously, all disappeared. Now, just in 1995, I got a job in Libya. All right, and I was working in the desert, right away down in the very close to the center of the desert, middle of the Sahara Desert. I got a job with an Irish company, and as a construction manager. And we were installing a pipeline in there for sprinklers around the oil field. And I've seen stuff down there on the way down into that desert. It's unbelievable. Where I was absolutely very, very few people, white people, Westerners, have seen what I've seen. It's unbelievable. I was in I was in the dried up riverbed. I stumbled across it, and 10-foot wall on this side, and another 10-foot wall on the other side, and going on, I don't know how far it was going on, and it was nothing but seashells. Seashells all the way up, nothing in between, just seashells stacked. There was millions upon millions of seashells, all the way right up to the top. I said, what the bloody hell? Seashells. Here I was in the Sahara Desert, and all these seashells. And I could see the imprints of fish that had been calcified on the floor. And I said, well, what kind of a fish was that? Big fish, you know. I didn't recognize the shapes of the fish. I hadn't seen them before. But not too far away, I came across what would be called a petrified forest, right? And what a petrified forest is are trees that had suddenly been flashed like that, and then had fallen over. But the imprint, the full tree itself is there. You're looking at it as it was when it was wood, but now it's complete stone, rock, complete formation on the ground.
Silicon.
It's actually stone.
Mm-hmm.
I picked it up, and I was able to pick pieces out of it, and I brought some back. And I'm looking around me, and I said, what's going on here? I said, what happened here? I said, this looks like a nuclear bomb or something went off here.
Yeah, about 5,000 years ago, there was a nuclear war which created the Sahara Desert.
Yes.
Yeah, I've driven across Morocco and many times, and it's fairly obvious, actually, if you look at it from that point of view. But most people won't look at it from that point of view because they just don't think that's possible. But
I also wonder that it's maybe not a nuclear bomb, but some sort of flash.
Yeah, well, it was something big.
Yeah, it was definitely something big. And I think this is what in the Law of One, they do mention about what is coming up. And they do mention the flash, and the flash is going to happen.
We're talking about the solar flash now?
Yes.
Yes.
It is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying it's going to happen very soon.
Yes.
As in the next few months.
No.
Huh?
I don't think so, no. But we need to go through this ascension first.
Okay.
We need to get as many people off of the planet, right?
So how do you define off the planet? Because
ascend. Let's call it ascension, right? This ascension.
Yeah, well, I think when you say off the planet, it confuses people, because lots of people have talked about ascension being like, does it mean we're just in a higher state of consciousness? Does it mean that there's another planet there that we're going to jump to? Does it mean that people go left? What does it mean? How if you mix up the metaphors, it gets even more.
Yeah, yeah. So what I have here, right, is I got from my friend Dermot Kelly down in Australia, and he's very friendly with Steve Strong, and his son. And
Strong, just to explain to anybody who doesn't know, is one of the guys who's got Lemurian artifacts that is connected with the indigenous people of Australia that JC's friends with, and was going to be involved in the ceremony there.
And he got permission to disclose this, right, from Stephen, and he says, so I'll read it out. Not only did we achieve the 144,000 people on this continent all at the same time, we got between 15 to 20 million worldwide, all focusing on good intent pointed at Uluru. Yes, the spaceship from the Pleiades did arrive and will be told about in good time. The magic box that was talked about was Uluru itself. And Stephen Strong told me that it turned on big time. That one event did not save humanity. It saved all the animals, insects, and plants, as they were not directly responsible for what has transpired on this planet. So we saved them and will forever go down in history as the special ones who saved them. As for humanity, he says, we couldn't, this is from the, he got this from the elders. We couldn't save everyone, but our percentage, now this may become as a big surprise to people, right? I was a bit surprised about it, but as for humanity, we couldn't save everyone, but our percentage has gone up from 1 to 3% to 10%, which is a giant leap indeed. Approximately 700 million people. That is who the elders, that's the number the elders gave on the number of people who are going to ascend in this ascension. It says the Schumann resonance has steadily going up and down ever since. On December the 21st, it went from resonating at 7, which is considered the normal time, to 36 on the day. That's the day of the meditation. Yes, if you consider the above figure 30 and how 36, imagine how it has affected since recently. It was clocked at, the resonance was clocked at 6,000, but it has gone back down. And he quotes this will continue for around 3 years until all those who will finally ascend can adjust. It will be known as the big split, and he's quoting Dolores Cannon here, as Dolores Cannon once said, the earth will divide in two. This is not something that we decide at the time. We all resonate at very different levels, and we'll end up where we resonate the best. In the Law of One, they speak specifically about this, and people are physically removed from the planet. Okay, now this 1 to 3%, I was rather surprised at those numbers, because these are not the numbers that I have held and known about for many years. The number that I had, and of which I did say to people at the time, but they didn't seem to notice, was 30%. This is the number of people that will ascend. I was recently looking at an interview that a whistleblower from the Illuminati side gave. I don't know if you read that, where he was saying or giving why they do the things they do, the black things they do. They're going what is known as the black route, and these people are also looking for ascension. But in order for the black, or the evil, let's call them the evil ones for want of a better word, to ascend, they need to achieve 95%. That is a whopping amount of evil to do in order to achieve that. So the more evil, in other words, that they do, they think it's the better it is for them.
Well, they've had a good pop.
Yes, yes. And they will do the most evil thing that they can possibly imagine. Anything they can dream up, because they've got to achieve 95% in order to ascend. Okay, onto the negative side, okay? On the positive side, these are called the service to self people. On the opposite end, you get the service to others, which is, I presume, most of the people who probably are looking at this, they would consider themselves service to others. But the one thing he said, this whistleblower guide, and it was the only thing that I kind of agreed with him, is that when he mentioned the service to other people, he says, there is not as many as them going to ascend as they think. There'll be very few. And I said, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I agree with him on that.
0 would be nice.
Sorry?
0 would be a good number.
What?
0 of them ascending.
Oh, yeah, but you see, they're going on the negative timeline. They're going on the negative, you know, that's the negative, whatever way you call it, whereas we're going on the positive side. Well, but not as many people who are consider themselves awake and service to others. They think, because I know this myself, I said, They're not ready. They think because it's 50 plus, anything over the rate of 50% plus, whatever, even if it's 50.5%, you will ascend. But to achieve that 50.5 is not that easy, as people think. It's not that easy. Okay? I said, people maybe get upset with this, but it's not that easy. And you're on the right track there when you start reading The Law of One. Okay? It explains it very well. But it is due to happen, and it is going to happen. And as they say, it happens like clockwork. There is no stopping it. And Jesus also spoke about this ascension, but people got so hooked up on him that they completely ignored his message. Right? He says, go into the village and you will see a man carrying water. Right? What's a man carrying water? It's the sign of Aquarius. We've just gone into Aquarius. What was 2,000 years ago, right? That was the beginning of the Pisces. And what's the sign for Pisces?
Fish.
Fish. That's how Christians recognize each other, was they just draw the line, outlining the fish in the sand.
I thought they recognized each other with really bad dress sense. I'm joking.
You're a very naughty boy.
He's a very naughty boy.
Very naughty boy.
See, when I was a kid, I only said that joke because I grew up in a village with a religious cult in it, and they literally, you could spot them a mile off. They just had sandals and really bad clothes on, so we just knew that they were the
very naughty boy,
the Jesus army. So hence my cynicism there. But
yeah,
you have the fishes on the back of the cars. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know, and I have nothing against anybody's religion. Yeah. I just don't like organised religion, especially ones run by paedophiles. That's my big issue.
Hey, listen, I was raised a Catholic. In a very strong Catholic house.
Paedophiles, yeah.
Yeah. So on the street where I lived, it was kind of divided in two. On the bottom end, you had the more affluent of the street, shall we say. And at the top end, you had the really, really poor people. I mean, you want this poverty. The poverty up there was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was told.
I come from that.
Fair play. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I don't. Great.
No, that's exciting. That's why I'm a bit feisty.
It's one of the what?
That's why I'm a bit feisty.
Right then. Don't. All right. But I was told never go up there. You can't go up there and mix with these people. Where would you find me? Up there with these people.
You're doing it now. You're doing it now.
You should have told me that beforehand. That's where you find me, up in their houses, playing with them.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah. So where was I? What?
I found that poverty is an extremely good way of, I mean, it's a terrible thing, blah, blah, blah. But when you've got nothing, you make life as good as it can be. And where I've been in the world where there's what looks like poverty to a Westerner, I've never seen happier people. I'm not talking about places with famine and stuff like that. I'm talking about places where there's very little money going about. And people live in basically houses they build with their own hands, Yeah.
Oh, the poverty was something else. But we didn't see it.
No.
We didn't notice it.
No. Well, you don't, because it's the same as when any kids get together. Doesn't matter what ethnicity, religion, they don't see any of that shit.
No.
They just see the soul of the other person and they get on brilliantly. Yeah. It's only when somebody comes and tells them why they shouldn't that the vision comes in.
But I was always up there.
Yeah.
I was mixing. Well, let me get back to this Petrified Forest stuff, right? In the desert. When we had to come out of the desert, come out of Libya, there was no direct flights out of Libya at the time. This was the time of Gaddafi. And not a safer country could you be in.
Well, Gaddafi was a great leader.
Absolutely.
He was destroyed by the cabal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Libyan people were beautiful people.
Yeah.
Are beautiful
They
people.
still are. Yeah.
Yeah, still are, absolutely.
All the people of the world are beautiful. It's just the bloody cabal.
He was greening the Sahara, you know that. He had a project.
He was bringing out gold-backed currency. He gave people $100,000 when they got married, something like that. He gave free education. I mean, he did that country would have gone far, like all of Africa should. And he was doing that for the whole of Africa as well, you know.
Oh,
But they've had Africa under the cosh for so long.
Yeah.
Couldn't allow it. And what was sickening was that we came, we saw, we killed him, the Hillary Clinton line. It was just horrible when they showed her watching Gaddafi being murdered. It was sick.
I know Benghazi quite well.
Well,
I could tell.
That's going to be a big when that all comes out properly.
Oh, I know Benghazi like the back of my hand. I know every street and alleyway there. So when you had to come out of Benghazi or out of Libya, there were no direct flights out. So you had to go into Egypt and down into Cairo to catch the flight home. So that means we had to go to Cairo and maybe spend 1 or 2 days there while we're waiting for the flight. So I went up into the pyramids, and I went into the big pyramid, and I was doing the one in there. Yeah, it was great. I was in there by myself, and I had a good look.
Last time.
Sorry?
You tell this story last time.
Did I? No, I didn't.
Either that, or I'm just getting pyramids all day. This is about the 5th pyramid conversation I've had in a week.
Yeah, and I've noticed that you have a lot of conversations about stuff I'm going to bring up, by the way.
Well, I am obsessed with pyramids.
You're the what?
I'm obsessed with pyramids. Pyramids are fascinating.
Yeah. But I was in there, right? And I'm looking at this sarcophagus, which is not a sarcophagus. And I'm looking at it from an engineer would look at it. And I'm saying, there's no way we could make this today, even with our machines. This just a sarcophagus alone said, there's no way we can make this. This is made something special, right? And I'm in there on my own, and I didn't think nothing of it. The second time, there was 2 people in there, but they went out when I went in. So again, I was inside the pyramid by myself. And it was only afterwards when I was reading, when I came across the Law of One, that I became obsessed with reading it. And I realized, hang on, when Ra, who channeled this information, came 11,000 years ago, they came because of one person that was there, that was willing to receive the Law of One. Okay? And they built the pyramid, by the way, not pyramids, pyramid. It was they who built it. They stayed at in the Law of One. And they built it off-world, but they used the stone from the earth, and they assembled it off-world and brought the whole lot down and put it in. And just
really? So it's like it was a prefab. I didn't know that. So there's 4,000 pyramids across the planet that we know of, right? Well, they all prefabbed and just dropped in. That's brilliant.
But the way they put it is that they explained how they done it, and they said in that the natives, or the local population of the natives, were surprised one morning to come out and find that there was a pyramid in their midst.
Well, you would be quite surprised, yeah.
So
it's quite a big building to just appear overnight.
You know, I wouldn't like to be living under it when it came in. It must have. I mean, have you been in there?
Right a bit down. Oh, yeah. You just killed Muhammad. Oh, don't worry.
I mean, the measurements of the pyramid itself are fascinating.
They're extraordinary, aren't they?
But have you been there?
Yeah, I've been in it.
Yeah, good. I haven't noticed that if you look at the large pyramid and look at the others, they're 2 different builders.
Well, I didn't notice that because I didn't get that close. What I was surprised about was how hard it was to climb down, because if it was made for people to go down there, they were very short.
Yeah, and small. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how to get, but that that sarcophagus is not a sarcophagus. That was built.
Yeah.
And the pyramid was put around it. It wasn't brought in. There's no way that could be brought in there.
Yeah.
If you and I did notice it, that the other pyramids were not of the same construct as the main pyramid, the large pyramid. And I know they say that the belt, the three pyramids and the other pyramids represent Orion. But at the time, there was only the one pyramid. So where did the other pyramids come from? Who built them? Curious question. And here we have, so this, if you take it, one pyramid, and they're saying, we're not having this, we can make that look like where we come from, Orion. Think about it, they built the other pyramids.
So who are they? Who built
The
this?
Orion group, from the Orion.
Yeah, but how long after the original?
I have no idea, but they don't even speak about that in the Law of One, but they constantly warn of the Orion group. They refer to the negative side as the Orion group.
Well, yeah, you've seen that website, the Orion. I think we talked about that before. There's a guy that was on Michael Jacobs' show that I'm hoping to get on my show, who's got a website called the Orion something, the Orion Lines, I think it is.
That's not the Nazca lines, is it?
Yeah, it's connected to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The NASCAR
That's fascinating. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, the Orion Lines. Yeah, the Orion Lines is about the Nazca lines and pyramids and everything else. The guy that did this is absolutely brilliant. I don't know have you never seen the website?
No.
I'll just show you it quickly because I really would like to get this guy. You'd love this guy. So it's
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I've solved the NASCAR lines and renamed the Orion Lines.
Yeah.
He relates. I've not looked at this for a few weeks, so I might be a bit rusty. So this is it's all connected to this symbol, this Nazi symbol, the black sun. The Orion group is a satanic force. And
yeah.
This is well worth anybody going to have a look at.
Absolutely.
I had a good look through this about a month ago, I think now, but it's not pretty horrific down there with the stuff. But if you can cope with that, it's worth looking at. So yes, I get all that. So where were we? NASCAR lines, Orion lines.
Yeah. Okay. So
the pyramids, the second set of pyramids are placed there because these guys from Orion wanted to claim it all for themselves. Yes,
and even during the channeling of the Ra, they kept a warning that there was an entity. They were not even allowed to say who it was, because when you follow the Law of One, and which I do, and I try to live within the Law of One, you are very, very restricted in the way you say things. You're confined in how you say things.
So I'm going to be in a bit of trouble with them when I read this.
You certainly will be more enlightened. Let me put it that way.
I've actually read a lot about it. I've just not actually read the source text.
No, it's just let me get this, because my mind it does incline to wander a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. People seem to like that, William.
I don't. Who's that? Yeah. Who's that with? Is that the LL? The LL?
I got the posh version.
Of course, you did the most expensive version. Okay.
40th anniversary edition.
Yeah. It's the LL Research, is it? Is that what you got about?
What? Who published it?
LL. They published, the people involved in the original channeling actually have their own little group.
Oh, LL Research, Louise.
Yeah, LL Research, yeah.
Yeah.
So they were the people originally there. And the questions in this, right? The guy who's asking the questions is more of a scientific nature.
Yeah.
So he's asked a lot of questions from the scientific point of view.
Yeah.
Because he was raised a Christian, a lot of the...
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I just turned to a page. You know how you do that? Yeah. And the question at the top of the page says, are all these men in black then used by the Orion Crusaders? That is correct. Oh, I think we're going to have to stop. So I've got to go and read this now.
By all means, but I won't see you for 6 months.
Oh, I've just got the tingle.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna.
If you keep doing that, you'll keep doing it all night.
Yes.
Again, but they're very, very specific in how the question is asked.
Yes.
And they're very, very specific on how they answer the question. They will only answer the question that is asked.
Yes.
There's no rider to it, or they won't go down this. They will answer the specific question.
They won't go outside of it. Yeah.
And they will commence each answer with with Ra. What is it? Ra. We are Ra.
I am Ra.
I am Ra. Is it?
That is correct.
Yeah. Ra.
Yeah.
I am Ra. Yeah. Ra. I am Ra. If he answers in any other way, there's interference.
No wonder it took 20 years to write it.
No. They came out in this happened in 1981, didn't it? The first one of these, yeah.
No, I don't think it was 20 years of channeling that got it. But I mean,
eventually up to that point, and then they started channeling Ra, but it only took 2 years to channel this.
Okay.
And it was very, very specific questions, and he spoke from a scientific point of view, and he had the Christian upbringing. And so when he was hearing something about other civilizations, and they weren't the only ones, and UFOs and spacecraft and other entities, I mean, this was doing his head in. He couldn't understand it. He couldn't quite grasp it. So he was doubting a lot of the stuff he was hearing, and that the government was involved. The government was also aware. That was way beyond him. He found that very, very difficult to accept. So a lot of the questions were coming from him, and are some very, very technical and worded in non-vernacular, normal everyday language. So it does take a bit, which I suppose is right, because if it's meant for you, you will stick at it. You will stay at it. But when they came back down 11,000 years ago, the one guy that was open to receiving this material is named in the book. That was my reincarnation.
Your reincarnation?
Yeah, then. That was me.
So you were Ben 11,000 years ago that taught the law of one.
Yeah, I was the one the name is mentioned in the book. So let people do the research, and the name will come up there. And that name came up also under the numbers.
How do you know it was you?
Because I had done the past life regression.
Yeah.
And that came up very, very strong. And I accept that. That I can't accept, considering how attached I am to the raw material. So I do know that, and it did come up very, very strong in the regression that I had. And I described the body. When I was asked in the regression to describe the body, I described it. And now these experts who found the body are describing what I described in my regression. And another thing, I do a certain, not ritual, practice, I suppose, here, and it's a sun meditation, right? It's a sun where I connect in with the sun, and I use special words, and it's extremely powerful. Lately, I discovered he was doing the same thing. He was doing a special meditation to the sun as well, but not to the sun itself. It's an extremely powerful meditation when you say it and when you do it. It really is very powerful.
Where'd you learn these special words from, William?
It just came to me naturally, very, very naturally. And even the pose that I strike, that I'll do a certain pose, I'll do stand in a certain way, all comes very, very naturally.
When did this start happening for you?
Not too long ago. And I know it affects the earth. I know I'm having an effect on the earth. And I do this certain type of healing for the earth, not just on the earth, but I also do a certain healing under the earth. And it's extremely powerful. And you know those little tingles you get, I get quite a lot of that when it's going on. I really get something when it's going on. and it's very, very powerful. But apparently, this Pharaoh was also doing the same thing. And I only discovered that very recently as well. And I said, wow, so I am doing right. He's probably doing the same thing that I am now doing. So it's everything just ties together for me. Everything just ties together. As they say, when you're going down the road, you don't see the arrows pointing you in the direction. And you don't see the arrow until you look back, and then you see all the arrows pointing. So just going back to this ascension, can I just explain how I experienced the ascension?
Mm-hmm.
Always remember, I'm coming from the law of one here, right? And that is my belief. And that is, but the law of one is God's law. It's universal law. It's divine law. It's universal law. That is the law of one. That is the law of one. That comes first. The law of one is free will, not to interfere with free will. So anything that is done against the person's free will is breaking that law. Think of what President Trump says. I will do everything within the law.
Well, the whole Q operation is all being done
But
highly specifically within the law.
Yeah, it's within the law. Everything I do, it has to be done within the law.
Yeah.
Think about it. Who was actually, if you think now, right, along the Q, who was the first Q?
Desmond Llewellyn.
No.
Yeah, he was.
No.
1962. You went twice. From Russia with Love.
Come on, Ashwood. No. And the fellow says, you're way off, by.
You got to be joking, Q.
Right.
Just keeping the British end up, sir. Who was the first Q? Well, Jeshua.
Yeshua.
I was right. Am I right?
Yeah.
Do I get a prize?
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad, is it?
That's not bad.
You didn't expect me to get that, did you?
I didn't. I didn't. Hands up.
But I did get it. Do you know why? Because I've come to the same conclusion independently.
And they're the most beautiful conclusion you can come to.
It hit me last year.
Bang. Bang.
Yeah. And
everything.
You know what got me on it? What got me on it was when Q said, when you find out who's talking, you'll never guess who's talking to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, right, this is good. Who's it going to be? And there's only one person it could be.
Yeah. See, when he was speaking 2,000 years ago, everyone was, oh, when is this? When is this? When is this? When does it happen? It's happening. It's happening. It hasn't happened. He was speaking for now. He was doing what the Q was doing 3 or 4 years. He was projecting forward. People were looking then and saying, it's happening now. These people are going to be arrested now. All the great reveal is happening now. No, he was projecting forward. Jesus was projecting forward to this period. He said, Aquarius. Yeah. Go find the waterman. It's happening now.
Yeah,
and So he said the laborers are great. No, the harvest is great, but the laborers are few. That's very, very true. Really, really true.
Yeah.
And he spoke about the chaff being separated from the wheat. And he also said, I haven't come here to unite people. I have come here to divide people. He also said that. And this is what's going on. People will be divided.
Well, look around.
Yeah. Families probably brother from brother.
And this will be biblical.
And it will be biblical. What are we talking about? This is all biblical. It's, if you like, it's kind of payback time. You know, while they eat your popcorn, you know, while they're all, what's Trump doing? He has everybody focused on DC. Trump is doing a great job.
Oh, amazing.
And they're all watching Trump, right? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? We got all the bases covered. They left the back door open. They left the barn door open in this case, and we've come through. We just walked straight through, eating our popcorn. I'm going up and saying, what are you looking at, fellas? Shh, look, we're all watching. Oh, we're watching everything. Want some popcorn?
I don't even like popcorn.
I don't either.
Especially that genetically modified stuff. It's horrible.
Yeah. So yeah, and it is going to be biblical.
It already is.
It is biblical.
It already is.
It
My
is
whole life
biblical.
has become biblical. Well,
Yeah.
in the last year, especially.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people watching this are feeling the same way.
Yeah. When 107 started mentioning we need divine interference. What does divine interference actually mean?
You mean intervention or interference?
I'm just looking at, I have written down divine intervention, or I have written down interference here, but yeah, I could have misquoted that, but
just wondering, in case there's
yeah.
What does he mean by that? Well,
yeah, what would people consider divine intervention?
Well, I think people are expecting, I think originally they were expecting plagues of locusts, which we've had, floods, which we've had, earthquakes, which we've had, volcanoes, which we've had. We've had all of those kind of classic biblical things, but divine intervention, they might think of a guy appearing and saying he's Christ, angels coming down from
singing hallelujah and all that nonsense. They weren't expecting this.
Yeah.
We came in the back door.
Yeah.
And we're all here.
Oh, because we were all we've all had amazing disguises.
Yes, we're all here. I'm just a messenger. I keep telling you that. I'm only the messenger here. We're all here. We're inside the tent, fellas.
Yeah. I think they know that.
Yeah, but they weren't expecting it.
Yeah. No, I think they knew where there wasn't.
No, they were expecting us to come down and sing an hallelujah, stringing these stupid harps and singing. It's like that. They weren't quite expecting this, but we're here, and it is going to happen. It has already happened.
Well,
it has already happened. We've already won. I do know what the plan is, by the way.
Go on then.
Not now.
Oh, what?
No.
I haven't sat here all night for you to say
no. Feck off, but you're not getting this off. This info on your own. No bloody way.
What?
No, I do. I'm going to reveal the plan here to you. Really?
Yeah.
What kind of an idiot would I be if I give him the plan and everybody has the plan?
You just said we already won.
I am aware of the divine side of it.
Yeah.
Very much so, okay? That's where I come from. I come from the spiritual side of it. It probably dovetails over into what Trump is doing. This is a two-pronged attack from our side. There's the third dimensional side, three-dimensional side, where all that clearing up has been done, but we also need to clear up on the spiritual side.
Oh yeah.
That needs to be cleared out.
That's the big
There's
part.
a wall going up there. There's a wall going down here. As above, so below. As below, so above. That is very, very true. That is very, very real. But we're winning. We have won. So all we're doing now is clearly tying the mess up. We've won. So we're taking care of the spiritual side. Trump is taking care of the 3D side. So the plan is beautiful, by the way. Oh yeah, it really is. It's very simple, but beautiful. Yeah, we've won. I'm not going to tell you, actually, don't be looking at me like that.
I didn't say anything.
I know, but look at your face. No, I do know what it is, yeah. It's beautiful.
So when are you going to tell us what it is then?
Well, I tell you what, I'll leave that up to you.
Oh, you want to leave that to part 3? You're going to tell us?
Getting back to the conversation with God books, book 3 is much lighter, and the end is a classic. I mean, the end is just beautiful. So let's say that we do part 3. And if there was, say, can you do, right then, since you brought it up, just a yes or no answer. You know where I'm coming from, yeah? Can you do these live streams?
I am Ra. The answer is yes.
Wow. Okay.
You think I'm going to do a live stream with you? You got another thing coming.
As I said, it's all in your hands now, Mark. So the question is, will you do it? Yes or no?
Yeah, yeah, if you want me to.
No, you have to make that decision.
Yeah, it's free will. I saw Free Will and Free Willy too. That was good. That's when the whale kept. That's another shit joke. Yeah, we can do that. Why not?
Okay, then. You set the days, and we'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell everybody the plan?
Yeah.
There's a word for people like you where I come from. You don't want to know what it is. Right, so that's the end of this one then, is it?
Oh, if you want, you can continue talking if you want. I'll talk about hang on.
I'm ready for bed, to be honest, but let's do it.
Hang on. Do you want to talk about the UFOs now or next one?
No, let's talk about the UFOs. I love the UFOs.
Do you?
Have you seen that plasma stuff going on in Dublin?
I did look at the video of it, yeah.
What do you think that is?
It's intriguing. And I put the pendulum on it, just checking. I know JC done the pendulum, and so I asked the same questions, and I got an affirmative answer as well. I got the answer yes as well. So yeah, it was the Arcturians, and they were doing the stuff. I'm not big into this Palladian, Andromedan. Oh, I'm from Pleiades, and I'm from Andromeda. I was never into all of that until the UFO stuff. Okay, and I've seen lots of UFOs. I've seen hundreds of them.
So have I.
Yeah, day and night. I've seen them.
So me too.
Yeah, I've seen. There was one parked outside my door in the daytime, in the summertime, and he was there for 25 minutes.
Was he on a double? Was he on a double yellow?
Well, the man was busy writing a ticket at the time. Yeah, he was there. He parked up for 25 minutes. I was looking straight out at him.
What, outside your house?
Yeah, I was looking straight out my window, looking straight at it.
Yeah.
And
what did it look like?
When I first saw this particular one, it was the white light, the bright light on the top that got my attention. And I was looking out the door at it. And then I saw the colored lights underneath it. Right? There's red, green, and what have lights. Red, green, blue, white. And as it came in closer and stopped, I mean, it wasn't very high up, but it was at my eye level across, as I live up fairly high. So I could see the horizon, but I was just looking straight at it.
Yeah.
And every now and again, it would just doing a 90-degree turn, and then it turned back again. And that's all I kept doing for the 25 minutes, doing that.
Yeah.
That's twisting. And just to show you how disbelieving people are going to find it very, very hard to accept all this when it happens.
Yeah.
I'll give you an instance.
Well, it's like the I was listening to somebody describe this like the natives on the island when they saw the ships coming towards them, they couldn't actually see them because they didn't have any reference for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really interesting about this. There's going to be people watching this going, "Oh, they're nutters. Listen to them talking about fucking UFOs and stuff." But you know what, the UFO you just described, there were 3 guys in this town who were just about 70 years old when they were lads, when they were teenagers. Just in the hills, I can see them from the window. They had an experience with a craft exactly as you described, 50 odd years ago. And I've met loads of people that have as well, and I've seen loads of different UFOs.
So have I.
And I think it's just certain, it's like the woman doing the channel with the plasma, Gina Maria Colvin Hill. She is tuned in, and it's like, I think they reveal themselves to, I think it's a frequency thing.
Yeah.
I think if you're at a certain frequency, you can see them, and if you're not, you can't, and you never see them. Plus, you're never going to see them if you're sat in watching TV every night and you don't look up. Because
No.
most people just don't even look up, do they?
No.
And that's all I say to people. The only difference between you and me is I actually go outside and look up for a few minutes.
But I'm at the stage now, Mark, but I don't bother my arse. Who wants
Look, I've been a bit like that. I've been a bit like that recently because I was like, well, I know it's happening and I know they're there.
There's no point in taking a photograph. What are you going to see in the bloody picture? Another little donkey light going across.
No, exactly. It's just, to me, it's like, I mean, all my kids are like, oh, just saw a UFO,
Yeah,
Dad. Why
yeah.
don't you tell me? Well, you know, we've seen loads of them. So
That's the way it is, you know. But I
But
think
I'm ready. You know, I speak to them. I speak to the stars and I speak to the UFOs when I see them. And I say, look, I'm ready. Let's have it. And, you know, I think I probably asked them too loudly because I think I've had a lot of visitations as well. But it's nothing to be afraid of and it's totally real.
Yeah.
I think the big question in this community is, well, if you want to call it a community, is, you know, are they aliens, extraterrestrials? Are they interdimensional? And I also remember, I think I mentioned him to you before, Stuart Wilde's books. Have you ever read any of his books? The Infinite Self, Life Wasn't Supposed to Be Difficult. I can't remember what that one's called now.
I can't remember.
Anyway, he was a very interesting chap. But towards the end of his life, he was describing the UFO as he said they were demons. And that threw me off on a curveball for a couple of years because I had to ponder that question. What do you think now?
Well, I've never got a bad vibe from these, but the last one I'm not too sure about. And there was also another one previous to that, sometime before, more or less doing the same thing, but it was a different shape. But that kind of moved very, very slow. It stayed in view for maybe 6-7 minutes, again at the same latitude. So yeah, I was looking at that was a different shape. I've had one come over where I was lying in the garden and I was looking straight up and I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. And it was like, it was transparent. It was circular and transparent, almost completely transparent. And I was lying down and I kind of saw this movement. And it was only because of the outer rim that I noticed. And it came up and stopped directly over my head. So now I'm flat on my back and I was looking straight up at it. And stay there. And then it gradually moved back again to where it came from. I said, I don't get excited too much. Don't think that I don't excite. I really don't. I'm not the excitable type. I said, right, okay, that's it. That's the sum total. And even those two other ships that I saw for a long time, they were just there, like, just wondering what they were doing.
But
One of them.
Have you got an opinion on where they're from?
No.
Is it us from the future? Is it inner Earth? Is it outer space?
I have no idea.
Is it demons? What are they?
As I said, I didn't get any bad feeling about them because I personally, I don't think they would be allowed to come at me like this if they were negative, because that is against my will and that is not allowed. So
Yeah,
that's what
that's a really good point because people don't necessarily understand this, that this whole system that we're in is all based upon contracts and consents. And people don't realize, like, even the birth certificate is a contract where you consent to them taking ownership of your baby, turning you into a limited liability organization or corporation. People don't understand that all the false flags that we've seen over the last century have all been flagged up to us beforehand because that's a universal law of karma. If they don't tell us about it, then they don't suffer. If they tell us about it and we don't object to it, even if we don't see it, them telling us about it because we're too ignorant to see it, they still get away with the law of karma because of that. So the whole system that we're brought up in is all based upon consent and contracts. Even like police coming to your door or being afraid of someone coming to your door to give you a compulsory vaccine, you can just put up a sign saying no trespassers allowed, make an appointment, and they can't come in. So it's all about that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. This is why I don't get negative vibrations out or any negative stuff, because I don't accept it. I do not accept it.
Yeah.
And as I said, I live my life in the law of one.
It's very important.
Non-interference. It's crucial. This is why people who say they're a service, 50% no problem. need to be very, very careful.
Well, when I heard that whole thing about the 50%, I was like, geez, I'm never going to ascend. I've got so far to go.
There's always time, but you need to be careful. And all these other people who say, oh, I'm awake and I'm service to self.
Yeah, it's all ego, that kind of chat, you know.
This is where the Course in Miracles helps you out with the ego.
It does, yeah. Well, it helped me out.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So big time.
Yeah.
So the Course in Miracles and the raw material are a big combination there. And they really, really help you. So getting back to the UFOs, right? The information I get, they're not allowed to say exactly why they give me the information. They'll put a suggestion, a notion that I've come across before. They would put that in, and I've got to query that notion. And then say, yeah, you get it. And then you get the information, but you have to ask the question. And because you ask the question, you get your answer. I mean, all I getting was, I was like an open letterbox, and they were kept dropping the tokens in, and I was getting bing, yeah, I got that one, bing, bing, dropping all the coins in. It's like a slot machine. Drop another one, and let's see his reaction to that one. Yeah, we could drop another one, right? That's the way it goes. Like you wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you're just lying there. Next you get bing, shh, all the tumbles going up. Bing, bing. Yeah, got that one. Give me another one. Give me another one. Yeah, that's the way it goes on.
It's so weird that you say that, because earlier on tonight I had to explain to my son what a one-armed bandit was, because he'd never seen one with a. He'd only seen the ones with the buttons on. So.
There's no, the ones with the buttons on are not fun.
No, I want to go.
Yeah, give it a good pull.
Bit of mechanical engineering.
That's fine. But anyway,
yeah.
In this particular dream, I told you I drove a truck for a few years.
Yeah.
Best job I ever had.
Yeah.
Pay was bloody good. I have to admit, the pay was terrific. But in this dream, I woke up and I was driving the truck. I was driving the truck down this Tom McAdam Road, no signposts, no nothing. And we're driving down, and suddenly I came to this very, very long, steep hill, right? And I'd be looking up at that hill. And I said, bloody hell, how am I going to get up there?
That's the day you realise why they paid truck drivers so much money.
Let me tell you, I could tell you some stories about, oh, bloody hell, about truck. Anyway, I'm looking at this hill, right? Atwood, feck off. I'm looking at this hill, right?
I'm listening. What do you want me to say? I've got a very vivid imagination.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. So I've been looking at this hill, and I said, I don't know, can I get up this hill? I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. I go for it. I'll go for it, right? As you do, you know. So I slap it into gear, and off I go up this big hill, right? And as I was getting closer to the top, the truck was getting slower and slower. And I was reaching down see was there any lower gears? And there wasn't. I was down on the lowest gear. And I'm going, go on. I could see the top coming up, like, go on. Then I could see the speed bumps.
It's all in the clutch.
I was doing that. Go on. And I know even in bed, I know I was doing it. Go on. And I went, go on. Go on. I realized I now had a load of people in the truck with me. And I'm saying, it's hard enough for me to just get up on my own, but now I'm bringing all these people. And I'm, go on and get to the speed bump and get over the speed bump and then go on, we're there. Coming closer to the top edge, coming closer. If I can get the front wheels over, and go on. Then the front wheels come up to the top and they don't go over, and they kept going up. And I'm saying, bloody hell, what? Go on. I said, once the weight gets enough, it'll bring the 2 front wheels down. No, I went straight up. And suddenly I was in this, how would I describe it? Above the clouds, And I seemed to have come up some kind of stairs. And as I came up above the clouds, I noticed this figure, and he was standing there with his hands behind his back, looking at me. But I couldn't see his face, right? And he had a kind of a purple gown on him, all right down to the, I reached right down to the floor, clouds, all the way down. And he had one foot forward and his hands behind his back. And I knew he was looking at me like this, as if to say, come on then. But he had a crown on his head, right? And aside that was another crown. And aside that was another crown. It's an unusual shaped crown. And he was looking at me. And then I looked over, I saw what I took at the time to be Mother Mary, right? And she was sitting in a chair, a normal wooden chair with two armrests on it. And she was leaning over, either looking down or speaking down to somebody, right? And she also had a crown, not the same type as the one with the tree, but different, a crown, but different. And then I looked across, more or less straight across, at what appeared to be a blank wall, right? And there was a big outline of a figure, you know, just the head and shoulders, that outline, and a seam of gold. That's all it was, a seam of gold. Like that. I could never figure out what this was about, all this was about, until very recently. Because this was a good few years ago, and I had no point of reference at that time as to what I was actually doing, what this going up was about, right? And twigged with me with the color purple. I say, hang on a minute, purple is the crown chakra. What I was looking at was the crown chakra, but the crown was the crown chakra. What I was being shown here, but I had to come to the conclusion myself, was the ascension process and how we're bringing other people along with us. Okay, it was only recently I said, with all these pennies dropping down and give me another one, you know, drop it in. That's where I was getting all this from. Everything was put into place for me. Joined up all the dots again. Everything was perfect. The dream.
We're in a clapped out truck that doesn't appear as if it's going to make it over the top of the hill.
Yeah, you're going up. You're going up. You're rising up. And it's difficult as you get to the top. It's a struggle just to get over the top. So that's it. It's not as easy as you people think. It is a struggle. And you do have to put in the work. But you can do it. You can make it. I was given a message one time by Yeshua. He says, look after my flock. He said, you look after my flock. I said, okay. And that's what he said to me. But I kind of understood what he meant. But this ascension is not what people think. 50+% piece of cake. No, it's not. You need to do the work here, folks. Think of what the elders gave to Steve Strong. A 1 to 3%, 700 people. 700 million. Figure I had was 30% of the population, which is still a lot of people, but it's not a rising tide that's lifting all boats here. Even Ra would say that it's an individual ascension. So I say to the people again, please do your work. Go inside, do a lot more meditation. Leave the ego to one side. Forget all this money. Forget how much money I have, or how much gold I have, or how much silver I have. They're like the Illuminati contract. What did they offer me? Millions upon millions. Why? Because the money is the root of all evil. When you're folks, if you got all this money, right? However you get it, you get all this money. What are you thinking of? Okay, well, now I've got all this money. Now what am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with it? I know I'll put it into a bank, right? And I'll invest something, and I'll buy a house, and I'll buy a car, and maybe I'll give Johnny some more, and buy a house for Mary. And I wonder how the stocks are doing. And how much money have you got? How much money did you get? Oh, I got so much. Ha, I got more than you. And how much did you get? Oh, well, you did you? Oh, fuck it then. I'm going to get more than you. I'll take his. Here's the recital. This cycle is repeating itself again then. Just all
Yeah,
this
I get that, William. I do.
all this money stuff, you know.
But you know, I've got 5 kids, and I've still got to have enough
Yeah.
money coming in.
No, I'm not talking about the individual here, but this concept that people suddenly get all of this money. The more money you put in, you get all this money.
Yeah.
Be careful. Be very, very careful.
Well, I think
Where you're
majority
placing the focus.
most people who are watching this are focused in the right place, and I talk about pragmatism when it comes to money, right? So nothing I'm doing at the moment is in order to have lots of money. Anything I am doing to get money is to allow me to carry on with what I'm doing, and allow me to feed my kids and everything else. And a lot of people in the last year have lost their jobs, lost their businesses, and they've become reliant upon the state, and the state's telling them to do things.
Oh yeah.
And one of my messages is like becoming independent, sovereignly independent within the system that we're currently in, not hedging your bets, but because none of us know exactly what's going to happen when, and we've all got to sort of, I think the big lesson of this period has been to learn how to take care of yourself,
Yes.
rather than relying upon anything outside, including the government and the state,
especially
the government and the state. So you don't mean that though, do you? When you
no. I mean, by the way, as you mentioned it, I'll take some of that balm oil off you.
No, I'll send you some as a gift. Yeah.
No, you won't. I'll pay for it.
No, I'll send you some.
No, I'll pay for it.
All right, if you insist.
No, I'll pay for it. Yeah. So please watch where you put your focus. Where your attention is.
It's about focus. It's about what you do most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about your intention and your I don't know, you're super objective. In theatre, when a character comes on a stage, we used to talk about that character's super objective, which is what they really want out of the scene. Might just be a little bit of a chit chat in a bar or something, but actually there's something else that character's after. Yeah. And I think people need to focus on their super objective, because, you know, is your super objective service to others or service to self? Is it, you know, I was told years ago that one of my higher purposes was to hold a hearth for my kids, so that they always had a place to come to. And and then I was saying,
and that's perfectly okay. But if you accumulate for the sake of accumulation,
no, exactly.
You need to be very careful where you're putting your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I always caution with this. Yeah.
Well, it always reminds me of the story when the rich man was asked who comes up to Jesus, Yeshua, whatever, and says, "I want to follow you. You're blah blah." He says, "Well, give up all your riches." And he's like, "No."
I'm glad you brought that up, because I meant to tell.
Baking powder? You want me to give up my what? No, this guy. You tell me. I want to speak to this guy. He wants me to give up my riches.
Yeah. Well, so you put it on my mind. Yeah. Getting back to Yeshua, right? And all those people were saying, I follow Jesus. I follow Jesus. I used to follow Jesus, but I don't follow him anymore. I stopped following him. But I now stand shoulder to shoulder with him.
Yeah.
I stand shoulder to shoulder, right next to him. He doesn't want followers. He wants people who are going to stand right next to him, shoulder to shoulder. He's waiting for those who will no longer follow, but who are now prepared to get up off their knees and stand right next to him. Raise your vibrations.
Which is why The Life of Brian is possibly the most spiritual film ever made. There's more spirituality in The Life of Brian than there is in Jesus of Nazareth. No, that's a different one.
It is. Yeah.
That's the Crusaders.
We are the knights who say nee.
Different film.
All right.
Just we'll make a swim away.
You're all individuals. I'm not. Anyway.
Yeah, your man with the 2 coconuts, you know.
Which was an accident, you know that. You know that film was only made because of George Harrison, and the only reason they had the coconuts is because they didn't have the budget for the horses. But that's movie trivia. That is, it's a good note to end it on. Part 3, William O'Leary will be giving away the plan in a live stream on my channel, apparently. So it's been great to chat to you. Thank you, William.
You're more than welcome, and thank you for eventually hosting it.
Oh, little dig there. Put your claws away, mate. Jeez.
Yeah.
You're a hard-working father. Come on, give me a break.
I know it. Yeah. No, it's rather peculiar how everything just seemed to stop, go. Yeah, we'll do it. Stop, not taking place. That was all very peculiar, very strange.
Life is peculiar.
It most certainly is.
But it's
who would have thought it?
Look, it's an enigma within a puzzle. It's like life is like a blind man on a black horse in a dark room looking for a black cat that isn't there. And if I was in that dark room, it'd be good if I was in there with you. It'd be fun.
Right. Sure it would. There'd be a lot of who done that? Right.
On that note, we'll say good night.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, go on.
Before you go on, you know, this getting back to this COVID thing and how they came up with the 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
When you know the human field is 6 feet.
Yeah.
They measure out 6 feet.
Yeah, they don't want us to. Yeah.
No, they're doing that.
Yeah.
And another thing, right? Getting away from that, people may notice that there's subtle changes going on with the body.
Oh, yeah, not so subtle in my case, but yeah.
Well, I can understand in your case, right?
Yeah.
But there is subtle changes because I've noticed it, and maybe we can touch on that and I would like to go deeper into the healings and the healing side of it.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next part.
Okay.
But the next part I hope will be part 3, and that's it. End of mission.
All right.
Check the box. I'm out of here. So that's it.
Right, we'll be doing it in about 5 years then. All right. See you later.
Don't threaten me like that. Don't you threaten me. Go on then. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, William. Take care.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.